Okay, so today, my loves, this is a rapid fire Q&A episode. I'm going to throw some shade here and I apologize in advance. I always hit my mic when I get fired up and it happened again. It was not fine. I was not okay. Doritos are amazing. Can we have a moment for Doritos? Oh my gosh. Hey, what's up? This is Kristen Carter, and you've tuned into the I Have ADHD podcast. I am medicated, caffeinated, regulated-ish, and ready to roll. I'm getting started 30 minutes late today, which is like not a big deal. But also, when you have ADHD and you have shame, like for decades worth of shame around like your time management skills, 30 minutes late just feels like not great. It just doesn't feel great. So if you are in a place today where you're just like, I'm just feeling it with the ADHD thing, same. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that we're hanging out together today. I always wonder what you're doing. If you want to let me know. Like, what are you doing while you listen to the pod? I have loved reading your YouTube comments, reading your Spotify comments. I talked about that the other week. Like, oh my gosh, there's Spotify comments. This is so exciting. And your Apple reviews. Thank you so much for engaging in the show. Thank you for subscribing to the YouTube channel. My goal this summer, and this is like, in the world of YouTube, this is so small, but my goal is to get to 10,000 subscribers. And that's not nothing. But in the world of YouTube, where people have millions of subscribers, it's just like it's a tiny drop in the bucket, but that's the goal. So if you are someone who's like, hey, I can get on board with that, just go hit subscribe on YouTube. That would make my heart so happy. I wanted to read a comment on Spotify because I read all of your comments. I appreciate you. I love you. I talk about the weather so much, and then I comment on myself talking about the weather, and I'm like, I shouldn't be talking about the weather so much, and I'm like narrating this whole thing, and you guys are just like, chill, could you chill? And Janice commented on Spotify, and she said, I'm partway through your episode, and I want to say that talking about the weather a lot is completely normal. Thank you, Janice. Thank you for that, Janice. I appreciate you. Janice says, I'm Canadian, and I know that you're a dedicated American, and the weather is a God-given right here in Canada. I love this. She goes on to say, like, hey, we've got major fluctuations in weather. It's very normal to talk about it, and so I appreciate it. I adore you. Thank you for your comment. If you want to leave a comment on Spotify or if you subscribe on YouTube, leave a comment there. I love hearing from you. You guys are my favorite. Whenever I get a new review on Apple Podcasts, which I check every day, like a deranged weirdo, like I check it every day. Why do I do that? I don't know. But I notice every day if the ratings go up, if there's a new review, whatever. Because I crave dopamine, because I'm just like you, because I need that immediate gratification, because I am no different than any other human. It's interesting, like my clients often think that I'm immune to just being a human. I'm not. I'm the same as you. I'm the same. I'm back from vacation. I am feeling so much better about life. I took a break. I disconnected for 10 days, 10 whole days. I can't believe it. 10 whole days. I was completely disconnected from reality, sort of, and from work. And I have got to tell you, I am recharged. I am feeling so much better about my life, about my job, about just showing up to record this podcast, even though I was late and I couldn't find parking. Then I had to correct my parking 3 times. I drive a large car. The streets of Manayunk, Pennsylvania are tiny. They're so narrow. Anyway, I had to correct my parking so many times. Let us move on. I was so ready to come and record, even though I was running late, even though I had to correct that part. Because why? Because I rested. And I just want to say to y'all, and I said this a couple weeks ago, if you have the ability to take time off, if you have PTO that you're not taking, if you have margin in your life where you're able to rest, do it, please. give that gift to yourself, it makes such a big difference. And the big wall of resistance that we feel toward our responsibilities, toward working, even toward like taking the gosh darn trash out, every day, or like doing the dishes every day or doing laundry every day. When we step outside of that routine, the mundane routine, and we're able to take a break from it, it makes entering back in so much more tolerable. And it just makes being able to do those mundane tasks so much easier. And so I really encourage you, if you haven't planned for time off yet, and it doesn't have to be expensive, you can just stay home, but shirk all of your responsibilities. Don't do anything. Just lay on your couch, watch Netflix, go for a hike, go to the pool, go to the beach. Like, enjoy your life, even within the context of like your home that you're already paying for. You don't have to go stay in a hotel. You don't have to go to another state or another country. You can just enjoy. And I've already said I do staycations all the time because relaxing in my own home is so peaceful. Okay. Anyway, this is my sales pitch for you to take some time off this summer. And listen, if this inspires you, if you're like, okay, fine, I'll do it, let me know. Let me know. Come hang out with me on Instagram at I Have ADHD Podcast. Leave a comment on YouTube, leave a comment on Spotify. Let me know on Apple Podcasts, all the places. Okay. Let me know, because I hope that I'm inspiring you to take some rest, to take some time off, to take some disconnection time so that you can decompress and be more willing to enter back into the mundane life that we are all living. Life is just mundane. That's just what it is. It's just part of it. Okay. So today, my loves, this is a rapid fire Q&A episode. So what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to be answering your questions that you submitted on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, come hang out. It's pretty much the only social media platform that I personally enjoy hanging out on. And so I am on Instagram quite a bit. Again, it's at I Have ADHD Podcast. And yesterday or the day before, I put up a question box and was just like, ask me anything. We're going to do a Q&A session. And I got a ton of question submissions. So we're going to try, It's cute when I say we, because who's the we, Kristen? It's like, look around. Who's the we? I am going to go through and answer as many questions as I can. I also have a couple of your voicemails to answer, so let's get started. These are questions about ADHD. Here we go. Number 1, ADHD paralysis is crippling. How do you get yourself out of it? I said this was going to be rapid fire, but how do you answer this question rapid firely? I'm not sure. I really don't know. First, I want to say, yep. It's crippling. It's crippling. And what I want you to know is that it's extremely complex, and there's not just a 3, 2, 1, quick, easy way to get yourself out of it. Okay, I'm going to throw some shade here, and I apologize in advance. But there's an author / self-help guru who wrote a book called The 5-Second Rule, saying that hey, just count down from 5 to 1 and you will just do the thing. Just go. It's as easy as that, guys. You're stuck in bed, just count down 5 seconds and boom, it's going to change your life. You don't want to do the hard thing, just count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. Now I'm motivated. I'm sorry, but it's a no from me. It's a no. ADHD paralysis is so much more difficult than a trite countdown from 5 and just go on your merry way. What you're struggling with, I believe, is probably a lot of self-doubt. It's a lot of fear. It's a lot of indecision. It's overwhelm. And that is complex. There is no simple way for me to just direct you through it. But what I will ask you, my dear question submitter, is this: how much support do you have in your life? Do you have a diagnosis? Are you being treated? Are you getting help from your family? Do you have a supportive partner? Are there people in your life validating you and helping you to succeed? Are you in an understanding workplace? Are you able to tell the people who are closest to you, I'm struggling? Can you please help me? Because Yes, the ADHD paralysis is crippling, but you were never meant to deal with it on your own. You were never meant to do it without the support of medication and therapy and coaching and community support. And so while this is not like a rapid fire answer, what I do want to let you know is that this is actually quite complex and you deserve a lot of support. My number one, if I could give you one tip, it would not be to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and just do it. So I promise you that. My one tip would be pay attention to your emotions and learn to regulate them. Learn to identify and self-soothe what is going on in your body. If you don't have access to therapy or coaching or any kind of help or support with that, then listen to my podcast. I have so many episodes on this topic, okay? So I love you. I'm sorry that you are paralyzed. This is a complex issue and it's telling me that you need more support. So what I want to encourage you to do is go out and find more support. All right, next question, my friends. Where should someone with untreated ADHD start? I'm overwhelmed but desperate. It sounds to me like you know you have ADHD and you do have a diagnosis. So that's a win. Like we're going to count that in the win column, that you already have some understanding of your brain and you already have an official diagnosis. What I say on this podcast all the time is that research shows that medication is the number one contributor to success with ADHD. It just is. Some of you don't like that answer. Sometimes I don't like that answer. I struggle with the fact that it's possible that I will be on medication for the rest of my life. I know. And then I have thoughts about like, is it all just a scam? I have the same questions that you do, but here is what is undeniable. Study after study after study has shown that medication is the number one driver of success with ADHD. Does diet help? Yes. Does exercise help? Yes. Does community support help? Yes. Does coaching and therapy help? Yes. But all of those other modalities and tools are almost impossible to access if you're not first treated, medically treated for the disorder. And so I would encourage you to ask for help. Again, maybe this will be a theme. I'm not sure. We're only 2 questions in, but I would encourage you to ask for help when it comes to acquiring medication. So ask a parent, ask a friend, ask your partner, ask your husband, ask your wife. Hey, I've been diagnosed with ADHD. I'm not treated for it. I'm learning that medication is actually more important than I originally thought. Can you please help me take the necessary steps required to get medication? Can you help me make the doctor's appointment? Can you help me find the doctor? Can you help me make the appointment? Can you go with me to the appointment? Can you hold my hand through the process? Because here's the thing, there's so much executive function required to take these steps. And what you're needing is medication in order to help you with your executive function. It's so ass backwards and so freaking annoying, right? Because it's like, how are you supposed to take these steps without the medication? Because what you're struggling with is the executive function that is required to do the 27 steps involved in getting that medication. So I would start with being treated. You're saying, where should someone with untreated ADHD start? Start by treating it. You got to treat it, honey. This is not a joke. We're going to talk about this later because there were a lot of questions about like, is this even a big deal? The answer is yes. And like, look at your life. If you're I always hit my mic when I get fired up and it happened again. Look at your life. If you are unhappy with the direction of your life, with where you're going, like you can point to it and say, yes, this is a big deal and I need to start taking it seriously. And I need to start demanding that the people around me take it seriously. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. All right, next question. How did you know when Strattera was working? I spent so long trying to not reveal what medication I was on because I didn't want to be like a medication influencer because that's just super weird. But it's out. I take Strattera and I love it. And it's really helped me. I was previously on a stimulant medication for ADHD, and then I had children and I stopped taking medication during those childbearing years, which now that I look back and now that there's new research out, I wish I had never stopped. I truly, truly, truly wish that I had never stopped taking medication during those childbearing years. But again, we're moving on. And when I went back on medication after my youngest was like maybe 2 or 3, the stimulant it actually caused a lot of anxiety. And I took it just for a couple of days and I was like, oh, this is no longer the one for me. Like this does not feel good in my body. And medication should always make you feel better, not worse. So I started taking a non-stimulant. And the difference between a stimulant and a non-stimulant is that a stimulant is now they're going to start you on a lower dose, but like once you are at the proper dosage for your weight and et cetera, you pretty much feel it immediately. And you're going to know, it's only going to take a little bit of time for you to know whether or not it's working. Whereas with a non-stimulant, it's more subtle, which makes sense. It's a non-stimulant. And so for me, it really did take about 3 to 6 months before I really began to notice a difference. And I remember asking my husband and my best friend, do you think this is like, are you noticing a difference with me? Is this even worth it? Should I continue to take it? I asked them at different times and both of them were like, oh my gosh, yes. And I remember so distinctly, this was during the 2016 election cycle. If you remember, that period of time was, roller coaster or the fiery depths of hell. And going through that time, I remember asking them like, hey, do you think that my ADHD medication is working? And I remember my husband saying, if you were not on this medication, you would be so much more triggered than you are. You would be struggling so much more than you are. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so insightful. It was really helpful to hear from them. So it did take a little while for me to notice a difference. And I've shared this, but I will share it again. A couple months ago, I was like, you know what? I don't think I really need medication anymore. I think that I have done so much work and so much self-development, and I have so many amazing support systems in place that I probably don't need to keep taking this Strattera. And so I started to back off of my Strattera. I like cut it in half. I was like, that's probably fine. Probably fine. It was not fine. I was not okay. I didn't feel okay. I didn't act okay. I was just like, oh, I actually do have ADHD. Okay, I need to keep taking it. But I would encourage you to ask the people that you trust. I would encourage you to keep a journal, and I would encourage you to just do body check-ins. How am I feeling? How am I feeling? Do I feel better? Do I feel more regulated? Do I feel more grounded? Am I able to observe my thoughts? All of that is really important when you're considering whether or not a medication is working. Okay, next one, best tips for getting yourself to eat more in the daytime instead of binging at night. This is a great question, especially for those of you who are on a stimulant, because a stimulant medication can absolutely dampen your appetite and then make it really difficult for you to eat at all during the day. And then the medication wears off, and then all of a sudden you are famished, understandably so, because you have not been eating all day long. And then the binging starts at night. And so first of all, you need to go follow ADHD nutritionist, Becca King, I believe is her name. She's amazing. She's on Instagram. She just wrote a book. Here it is. It's called How to Eat Well for Adults with ADHD. I love it. A practical, non-diet guide to feeding your body and mind when you have ADHD. So she's the expert. I'm certainly not the expert. And I would defer to her. She's actually teaching a class within my focused ADHD coaching program in the next couple of weeks, which is pretty cool. But what I would say and what I would do and what I remember doing when I was on a stimulant is setting reminders to eat, having a lot of like very easy, grabbable, yummy foods available, and setting myself up for success, not setting myself up for the fantasy of how I wish I would eat during the day. Are you hearing me? We all have the fantasy of how we wish we would eat. But when you're on a stimulant, and let's just say your refrigerator and your pantry are full of fantasy foods, which are all of the healthy foods. It's probably ingredients. You actually have to make them. They're not easy. They're not grabbable. They're not just like grab and go. Grabbable? That's weird. You're setting yourself up for failure when you do that, because in reality, especially when you're on a stimulant, your body is just going to reject the notion of having to cook like extensively. Your body's going to reject these like super fantasy healthy foods. Instead, just like calories in are important and nutrition is nutrition. There are no good and bad foods. Just eat something. Fill your fridge, fill your pantry with pretty much easy grab and go stuff that during the day, you're like, oh, that sounds good. I would snack on that. I would eat that. That's not a big deal. I love things like Greek yogurt and hummus and like that kind of thing. But I also love Doritos. And listen, food is food. Like Doritos are amazing. Doritos are amazing. Can we have a moment for Doritos? Oh my gosh. They're so good. Okay. So just make it easy. That's my tip. Make it as easy for yourself as possible. A lot of times we have this perfectionistic view and we make it way too hard, and that's not, then it's not practical for us. Then we're not actually able to go ahead and eat during the day because we're like, no, that doesn't sound good. No, I don't want anything. And I don't feel hungry anyway, so I'm not going to bother, right? So just make it really easy and yummy for yourself. Okay. Let's take an audio question. Should we do that? Let's hear first from Brooklyn. I believe that Brooklyn also submitted this question on Instagram, but since I had an audio message from her, I wanted to play this because I thought it would switch things up a little bit. Remember, if you want your question answered on the podcast, I would love to answer it for you. You can call in. The number is 833-281-2343. Just call, leave me a voicemail, and I will answer your question here. So let's go ahead and hear from Brooklyn.
Hi, my name is Brooklyn, and I am from Grants Pass, Oregon, and I'm new to the podcast. My friend had been posting about ADHD, and I was like in amazement about how many of the symptoms, pretty much all of them, that I had. And so I'm currently trying to be diagnosed, but I'm fairly sure I have it. Anyway, the podcast has been super helpful for me. Almost every episode has kind of like brought me to tears because it's just, I resonate with everything, and it's really helping me to cope and understand that, you know, this is real and I'm not crazy. But something that I'm struggling with is now I've been opening up about it with like my family, like my dad or my mother-in-law or whoever. And a common response that I get is that everybody has ADHD. Like it's not a big deal. Like everyone deals with it, or people are just not diagnosed. And I just feel like people just treat ADHD like it's not a big deal. Like it's just if you have it, you just can't focus on stuff, but that's just normal. But I just don't know how to respond to that, you know, people watering it down and treating it like, you know, it's a normal thing. So I just wanted some advice on how to respond to that comment that, oh, everyone has ADHD. Oh, you're just easily distracted. You know, that's normal. Anyways, thanks for your time and thanks for your podcast.
Oh, honey. I just want to give you a squeeze. I'm so sorry. I can hear the pain in your voice. I just want to say that I'm sorry. And that's not what you deserve to hear. When you're sharing something so personal, it's so vulnerable with the people that are closest to you, that's not what you deserve to hear back from them. And so that makes me upset on your behalf. It makes me feel angry, and it makes me just want to like step in and defend you. And I've gotten several questions that are similar to this. And so I'm really glad that you brought this, Brooklyn, and that you are articulating this so perfectly, because there are a lot of listeners and a lot of people on Instagram who submitted questions that are going through the same experience, just feeling like, when I talk about this, I feel like it's explaining so much about myself. And I feel so excited to have these revelations like, oh my goodness, these things that I've been struggling with, they're not because I'm lazy. They're not because I'm stupid. They're not because there's something wrong with me. It's because I have ADHD, and I can point to that. And like, maybe that means there's a solution, and maybe that means there's help for it. And that's so exciting. And it's such a like an eye-opening, life-changing time for you. And then to be met with such dismissal, to be met with such a demeaning, like, oh, well, everybody struggles with that. Like everybody has ADHD. That's not a big deal. What are you even talking about? That's so hurtful. And so I just want to mirror to you that's actually really painful to hear. And it's also very, very inappropriate. Like that's an inappropriate response. So for those of you, like Brooklyn, for you specifically, but for those of you who have friends, family, relatives, coworkers, whoever that are responding in this way, I want to encourage you to not feel invalidated and not feel like, oh, maybe this means that I'm wrong. Maybe this means that like it's not a big deal. Like, don't believe them. You should be mad at them. Like, be angry that they're responding in this way. The appropriate response from us, from the ADHD person who goes to someone with such vulnerability and says like, oh my gosh, I think that I might have ADHD. And I'm learning so much about myself, and I'm going to pursue a diagnosis, and maybe there's treatment that would help me. And maybe I can learn more about myself and some coping skills that will change my life and make everything better and easier for me. And someone dismisses that and says, well, that's stupid. Everybody has ADHD. What's your problem? We should be angry we deserve to be angry about that. Okay. It's inappropriate. That is so inappropriate. Okay. So first, I'm really sorry that you're hearing that from people. And second, I don't want you to believe them. And third, I want you to remember that ADHD is heritable, that it travels in families, and that, let's say it's your parent, and I don't know that you said it was your parent, but let's just pretend it was your parent. You go to your parent and you say, I'm distracted, I'm unmotivated, I'm struggling with emotional regulation, I am, what are the other symptoms of ADHD? Where am I? What is my job? My mind just absolutely left the building. So we'll throw that in, like unable to have an organized thought. And you go to your parent and you say that, and your parent who, hello, ADHD is as heritable as height. Your parent probably has ADHD. They're like, yeah, so is everybody else. You're like, no, this is not normal. This is not how we have to function. So I just want you to understand that you are probably, if you're talking to family members, it is so highly likely that you are talking to people with undiagnosed ADHD. So for them to validate your symptoms means that they would have to validate their own symptoms. And a parent who does not know how to validate themselves will never be able to validate their child. Ever. It's impossible. So a parent who dismisses their own struggles will always dismiss their child's struggles. It's just the way, this is the way that it works. Okay. And so I want you to think about, for you, Brooklyn, like you're just discovering this for the first time, but I want you to think about the generations of people that came before you, honey. All of the people that came before you that were undiagnosed, that were unaware, that didn't know. Your great-grandparents, your grandparents, your parents, your aunts, uncles, cousins, like whoever it is in your family. This travels in families, my love. Okay? So it's likely if you have ADHD that there are many, many people in your family that do as well, but they just don't know. And so I want to encourage you to be a little more self-protective with what you're sharing with people, because it doesn't seem that they are capable of holding your vulnerability with care. And so I want you to be a little more protective of those vulnerable parts of yourself. I'm not saying disconnect from your family. I am not saying, throw a big fit and rage at them. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying tell them that they have ADHD or diagnose that. Like, I'm not saying any of that. What I am saying is notice that they are incapable of validating you, but don't let that make you invalidate yourself. Just be aware that they're not capable. They're just not capable. And so be a little more self-protective. Find safe people that will understand. Come into an ADHD. I almost had come into focus, and like, I'm not trying to make a sales pitch. I'm trying to give an invitation of like, if you need people who will validate your experience, come join Focused. It is the most encouraging, validating, and accepting community that you could ever find. We welcome people with self-diagnosis. We welcome people who are undiagnosed but just curious. We welcome all types of people, and you will never feel invalidated in this space. Okay, anyway. Be a little more self-protective and only share these vulnerable things with safe people, and continue on your diagnosis journey. I'm so proud of you. I'm excited for you. I'm so hopeful for your future. I'm so hopeful that you are like gaining this awareness and this understanding, and that you are pursuing a deeper knowledge of yourself. It's beautiful. It's so good. Brooklyn, thank you for calling in. Thank you. I appreciate you. And remember, if you want me to answer your question on the pod, call 833-281-2343. Everyone with ADHD knows what to do to improve their lives. You go to bed at a reasonable time and you wake up early, make a list, cross the things off the list in order, manage your time well. Yeah, we know what to do, but ADHD is not a disorder of not knowing what to do. It's a disorder of knowing exactly what to do, but not being able to get yourself to do it. That's why ADHD is so frustrating. We're smart and we want to succeed, but we can't get ourselves to do the things that we know we should do in order to make improvements. That's why I created Focused. I'm a life coach with multiple certifications, and since 2019, I've spent thousands of hours coaching adults with ADHD. Time for me to focus on you. Hello. Welcome to your coaching call. I am going to be coaching you today on relationships. I know what it takes to help an adult with ADHD go from hot mess express to grounded and thriving. Focused is my monthly coaching membership where we go deep and we get to the root cause of what holds us back with ADHD. I'll teach you how to understand your ADHD brain, regulate your emotions, and accept yourself, flaws and all. With this foundation, we build the skills to improve life with ADHD. And not only do you get skills and tools in Focused, but you're surrounded by a huge community of adults with ADHD who are also doing the work of self-development right alongside of you. Dr. Ned Hallowell says, healing happens in community, and I have absolutely found this to be true. As a matter of fact, listen to what actual Focus members have to say about being in this program.
What can I say about Focused?
Full community of people who have issues similar to you, and no one judge you.
Focused has really supported me with my difficulties and asking for help. I've been encouraged and cheered on by the community.
I really like that you can do as much or as little as you want. It's not just about the volume of the content, it's about the quality.
Focus has helped me understand ADHD better.
I would recommend this to anyone.
I would thoroughly recommend Focused.
I can confidently say that this is one of the best decisions that I have made for myself.
So if you're an adult with ADHD who wants to figure out how to be motivated from the inside out and make real lasting changes in your life, join hundreds of others from around the world in Focused. Click the link in the episode description to check it out. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to answer another question submitted on Instagram. How can I trick my brain into being more driven? You can't. I'm sorry. You can't trick your brain. You're smart. You're way too smart. So instead of trying to trick yourself, how about you think about what you want? How about you go after things that matter to you? How about you stop doing all of the stupid stuff in your life that you're trying to do because you're shoulding on yourself? Like, I feel like I should clean my room, but I'm not driven to clean my room. It's because you don't care about your room being clean. So just let it be messy. What do you care about? The ADHD person has an interest-based nervous system. You're only going to be driven toward things that you really care about, unless you're extremely high functioning and you've done a shit ton of work on yourself and on your ability to function with ADHD. I am 23 years into this game. So like I have the tools to be driven on things that like I just don't really care about. I do have those tools. I don't always use them, but I do have the tools. But here's the thing, especially if you're new to this journey or you haven't done much self-development work, there's no way that you're going to be able to be driven on stuff that you don't care about. So stop doing stuff that you don't care about. Stop trying to get yourself to do things to please other people, to make yourself look good in a community of people that you don't even like. Stop it. She's getting a little fired up and she's going to take a chill pill. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm just taking a little chill pill. So how can I trick my brain into being more driven? You can't trick your brain. Your brain is smart. There's no there's no trick. The trick is to organize your life in a way that you care about. The trick is to, like, if you hate your job, but like, do you like eating? Do you like paying bills? Do you like having a place to live? Because you can hate your job, but still be driven to go to work because you know that that job is affording you food on the table and a roof over your head and education for your children. Does that make sense? You have to get to the root of the why behind your doing, the why behind what you're doing. The key here, though, is to notice when you've got a BS why. When your why is to please someone else. When your why is to make yourself look good to people that you don't even like. When your why is to please others and in a way that's just like, I want to impress people. I want people to think that I've got it all together. Those whys are not going to get you out of bed in the morning. So you have to go deeper than that. And you have to like shirk. Nope. That's the second time I've tried to use that word today. You have to like delete everything from your life that really, truly is not aligned and connected to your authentic self. And I know that sounds like so privileged and so like, okay, well, that's easy for you to say. But truly, this is the journey of being someone with ADHD, is figuring out how to do that. You can't do it all in one day. But how can you begin the process of deleting things that you truly don't care about? Now, again, this is not like, oh, okay, I don't like my job, so I'm going to quit my job. Well, you might not like your job, but do you like eating? Do you like providing for your kids? Like, you have to tune into that type of alignment. But ADHDers are allergic to doing things that they don't care about. We have an allergy. It's a pervasive allergy. We are allergic to doing things that we don't care about. And so the key is to do things that you care about. Do more of what you care deeply about. Okay, I'm moving on. This next one, tell me about your brain dumping process. Okay, awesome question. I'm actually going to record an entire episode about this next week. So next week's episode is going to be all about metacognition, thinking about your thinking, and brain dumping. So stay tuned for that. Okay. What is a good way to gently educate my loved ones about ADHD? Any good resource recommendations? Well, this podcast is an awesome resource. I even have an episode called Dear Neurotypicals, like what every ADHDer wants you to know. Hey, neurotypical friend, neurotypical family member, this is what we want you to know. So you can go check that episode out. There are a couple great books about ADHD. Your Brain's Not Broken is currently my favorite one by Tamara Rosier. That's a really good way. The thing is, like, the media coverage of ADHD is really mixed. We mentioned that New York Times article a couple weeks ago or months ago about, like, are we thinking about ADHD all wrong? And so media coverage is going to be very, very mixed about ADHD. I'm curious, though. This sounds to me, I want to read between the lines here. This sounds to me like, why do we need to educate my loved ones about ADHD? Why is it their business? So this sounds to me like my loved ones are demeaning and dismissing my mental health. And so I would like to have some fuel to educate them because they're being dismissive. And again, I just want to say, just like I said to Brooklyn, we don't tolerate people who dismiss us. We don't tolerate that behavior anymore. We are grown-ass adults. We know ourselves. We have a medical diagnosis. We don't need the validation or the blessing of mom or dad or sister or husband of our ADHD diagnosis. Are they like, it makes me upset that a person in your life would dismiss your diagnosis. And so I don't know. I could be reading way too much into this, but it's what it sounds like to me. What's a good way to gently educate my loved ones about ADHD? It sounds like your loved ones are not being kind and you're feeling dismissed and you're feeling like, I wish they understood me. I wish they cared. And like, why aren't they educating themselves if they love you? I'm sick of it. Okay. Did you hear me pound the table? I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. Okay. Moving on, resources and recommendations. I think that there are a lot of great educational reels on TikTok and Instagram. And I have a ton of resources in that regard for you on my Instagram. Lots of clips of the podcast, lots of things that you can grab, like easy, digestible things. There are a lot of ADHD creators, some of whom are grifters, but most of them are great. Most of them are great. Most of them are great. And so you can find digestible information that way. I don't know if they would go out and read a whole book on ADHD. I like Russell Barkley's Taking Charge of Adult ADHD. I think the first half of that is really, really great. Also, his YouTube channel, Russell Barkley's YouTube channel, is great. So you can find some stuff there. But essentially, like, when I have a loved one with a diagnosis, I'm the one researching. I'm the one wanting to understand. I'm the one trying to figure it out. I don't put the burden on them to educate me about it. So I just am wondering, I want more info on this one, but it's okay. Okay, I'm moving on. Next question. I'm struggling let me try again. I'm struggling with daydreaming about living in different places because places get boring so quickly. And it keeps me in decision paralysis in all ways in life. I'm wondering if this is a thing, and thing is capitalized. Like, I'm wondering if this is a thing. I'm struggling with daydreaming about living other places. It sounds to me like you are struggling with the reality that, like, real life, everyday life is pretty boring. And I'm just wondering if you are kind of using daydreaming as an escape, as a fantasy land, as a way to disengage and almost dissociate from the real life of just like life is a grind. It's just kind of a grind. It's kind of boring. Like marriage, kind of boring. Having kids, kind of hard and boring. Working a job every day, even if you love it, it gets boring. And so it sounds like you're wanting to escape through fantasy. And what's really interesting is that you're saying it's keeping you in decision paralysis. And that, I just am so sorry about that. That must be so hard. And I would encourage you to get some specific help on this, some coaching, some therapy. Like, what's going on that you are like in fantasy land and kind of escaping to other places in your mind, and then not being able to deal with like the real life decisions, because decisions are your power. They are the way that you move forward. So it almost sounds to me like this fantasy is self-protective. It is keeping you, quote unquote, safe from making those hard decisions and taking steps forward. And I just wonder if you'd be willing to get some specific help on that. I mean, you could like take this blurb to a trauma-informed coach, to a therapist, and just be like, this is what I want help with. Like, I'm not staying forever. I'm not working with you for 6 months to a year. Like, help me unpack this. And I think that they could be so helpful to you, because the decision paralysis is a tell that actually this fantasy is keeping you stuck and it's keeping you from moving forward. And that's not what we want for you. We want you to be able to have the power to make decisions and do what you want to do in life. Okay. How to prioritize when I have a million ideas. Pick one. That one was easy. That one was short and sweet and super easy. Pick one. Pick one. Having a million ideas, like the ADHD brain is a blessing and a curse. We're super creative. Not all of us, but some of us, super creative and idea generators. And that's what it sounds like. It sounds like you are. You're an idea generator. You have a million ideas. That's awesome. Like, lucky you. But here's the problem. We then have this tendency to think I have to follow through on all of these ideas. I have to make all of these come to life. It's not possible. It's not possible. It's not possible. I want you to think about it in terms of like choosing a spouse. There are actually billions of people in the world. How do you choose a spouse when there are billions of people in the world? You either date around for your whole life and you just never settle down and you never experience like true monogamous marriage, which is fine. That's totally a choice. It's totally a choice. But it is giving something up, right? It's giving up the long-term monogamous connection. And so like, it's the same with your ideas. And I have this entire episode. I don't even remember which one. I recorded like 300 and what is this, 18-ish? No, 320. 320 episodes. That's a lot for a little lady. That's just a lot for a little lady with ADHD to keep track of. So I have no idea what episode it is, but I have this episode where I talk about cheating on your goals with like one night stand ideas. It's a whole weird thing, but I think it's a great concept because we all have these like goals and dreams, and like, yeah, we have lots of ideas, but there are some that we're just like, this is the one, this is what I think I should do. But then these other like one night stand ideas come in and we cheat on our goals and we never get to our goals, and we're going to cheat on them with these one night stands. So pick one. It's just like a partner. You got to pick one. You just got to pick one. And if you choose not to, that's also okay, but make that a conscious choice. I'm going to intentionally choose not to pick one, and I'm just going to like play the field, so to speak. But you're asking, how do I prioritize? And what I'm saying is you pick one. You pick one and you mourn. You grieve the fact that you have to let others go away. You grieve the fact that you can't date around. You grieve the fact that like, this is it. This is the one. So like when I went all in on podcasting and coaching, that was hard. I already had a day job that I enjoyed. I was giving up a day job that I was good at, that I enjoyed, that was paying the bills. And I like, oh my gosh, just going all in with this analogy. I divorced that idea, even though it was a good thing, because I thought there was something better. And I just went all in, like nose to the grindstone. And I just went for it. And there were people that were like, at the time, you should start a YouTube. I couldn't start a YouTube at the time. This YouTube channel, if you are here and watching, thank you. I love you. It's brand new. Why is it brand new? Because I didn't have the bandwidth to do more than one thing. I was audio only for so long and very successful at that because I prioritized it. Okay, so prioritizing is just choosing. It's just making a choice and then being sad about what you're letting go, but moving forward and not cheating on your goal with one night stand ideas. Okay, that was really weird. Let's take another call. We're going to hear now from Ben. From Ben in, I think, Brooklyn. Let's go, Ben.
Kristen, my name is Ben, calling from Brooklyn, New York. I really appreciate your work. And I'm calling because I'm an artist and I have ADHD. And in some ways, pursuing the life of an artist seems like a super smart choice that I made for myself when I unconsciously desired it so many years ago. And also, though, like it's so overwhelming. So there's endless variety and newness inside of the work of being an artist. And also I have to manage so many things at the same time and be an entrepreneur of my own artistry as a musician, as a theater maker, as a writer. And it's really overwhelming. And I'm definitely struggling. I was diagnosed with ADHD a year and a half ago. Made a lot of things make retroactive sense. And I'm just struggling a little bit to keep it all together. So I wonder if you have done any episodes that I haven't found yet specifically on the intersections between creativity and ADHD, and or if you have any particular thoughts for those of us that are really pursuing a creative lifestyle and the gifts and challenges inside doing that with an ADHD brain. Thank you.
Ben, oh my gosh, it's so good to hear from you. Your life sounds magical. I just want to say, like an artist in Brooklyn, as like a Philly suburban housewife in her 40s, like that life sounds so magical. The creative life as an artist in Brooklyn, New York. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. Here's what I want to say, honey. I don't have any specific podcast episodes you asked like about creativity, the intersection of creativity and like the ADHD brain. But I do know a lot about entrepreneurship and ADHD. And I think what you're describing is the struggle of many creatives and entrepreneurs with ADHD, where we have the creative, amazing thing that we want to do, that we're really talented, gifted at. And so we have that, but then we have to sell it. Like we got to eat. We got to pay the bills. It's similar to coaching. Like my gift to the world is being an ADHD coach and to talking to you guys like this, right? That's my gift. But it's not enough for me to just be good at that. I also have to figure out a way to promote it, to sell it, to tell people about it, to let people know that it's an option. I can't just have a podcast. I have to also advertise the podcast, right? So I just relate to you so much, and I coach so many people that are so similar. And here's what I will say that has been the most helpful to me, and I think has provided the most clarity for my clients. When we are creatives or entrepreneurs, it seems like the world is our oyster and there are just so many options. But what we don't realize is that there is so much power in boundaries and in structure. And I'm sorry to use that triggering word structure because especially as a creative, you might balk at that word. But I want you to really do a deep dive into the structure of your creativity and how whatever medium you use, like I believe you said you're a musician. There is structure in music. There's tonality, there's scale, there are boundaries within music that allow music to make sense to the ear and to be appealing to others. So structure does make sense even within creativity. If you're an artist, the structure of like paint or the different mediums that you use with your artistry. There is structure. There are certain rules, and some rules are meant to be broken, but there are rules there for a reason, things that are pleasing to the eye, that are really drawing people in, right? It's the same with entrepreneurship. Structure is so helpful. Having boundaries around what you're willing to do and not willing to do, when you're willing to work and when you're not willing to work. Things, it sounds to me like you need structure. And so I would just really encourage you within like what feels good to you creatively. How can you create a structure for yourself so that you're not pulled in 150 different directions at all times? The other thing that I will say is that the most successful ADHD creatives and entrepreneurs that I have seen always have a neurotypical in the background, kind of grinding out the mundane, scheduling, what is the word? Administrative tasks. And so I encourage you to spend a little bit of money on hiring someone who is neurotypical, who can support you and provide that structure. Someone who can be your frontal lobe, someone who can offer up gifts that you don't have. When I really began to take my work seriously, I hired a neurotypical to help me, and it was the most helpful thing that I have ever done. And I will never not now, from now on, have a support team, because I know that what I want to do is my creative work. Now, it doesn't look like musician or artist, but it is coaching. It is that like service-based, people-based business. I want to show up and record this podcast. Do you know what I don't want to do? I don't want to edit it. I don't want to schedule it. I don't want to figure out how to post it in all of the platforms. I cannot be trusted to have a podcast drop on Tuesday mornings. You think I'm in charge of that? You think I'm in charge? I am not in charge of that. That is not my ministry. Okay. And so I want you to think about, what is your ministry? What gifts have been given to you to use? And then what are the areas that you're really weak in that you could delegate and hire out? And I know that's not possible for everyone, but especially if you are an entrepreneur, I really, really encourage you to make that investment in your business. So, number 1, structure and boundaries. Number 2, hire support. All right, Ben, I hope that was helpful. And I'd love to hear back from you if you're able to use that. Okay, we're going to do 2 more questions and then we are going to wrap it up. I love learning, but I hate doing my homework. What can I do to enjoy doing the work? You can't. This goes back to the other question of like, how can I trick my brain into like, there's no way to enjoy. Homework sucks. You're not going to enjoy it. I'm sorry. I wish that I could be like, oh, it's like, make it a disco party. Like, no, homework sucks. You're not going to enjoy it. But here's what you can do. You can get really determined that homework is important to you. You've got to make it important to you. You're not going to enjoy it, my love. You're not going to enjoy it. It's not fun. The barrier to you getting what you want out of your life is the discomfort and boredom of doing the crappy work that you don't want to do. The barrier to you getting what you want out of life, which is an education, good grades, a degree. The barrier to that is the discomfort of doing the mundane, boring work that you don't feel like doing. This can also apply to those of you who have a job that you hate or have a job that you love with certain parts of it that you hate, that you're just like, I hate this part of my job. The barrier to you being successful at your job is the discomfort of doing that work that you hate. And what I want all of us to do is increase our tolerance for boredom, increase our tolerance for discomfort, increase our tolerance to do the work that we're just like, this is so stupid. I hate this. I keep saying to my son, I have a 17-year-old. I can't believe he's 17. I feel so old. He just turned 17. And I just keep saying to him, like, he'll come home from work. He works at Chick-fil-A. It's adorable. He has a whole uniform and a name tag and all of the things. And he gets home and I'm like, how's work? And he's like, it's boring. And I'm like, the more you can tolerate that boredom, the more you're going to get what you want out of your life. I'm so proud of you for tolerating boredom today. That's what I say to my kid. It's what I wish my parents would say to me, right? Like, I'm so proud of you for tolerating that boredom, that discomfort, because that's how you're going to get what you want out of life. All right. So, my dear, who submitted this, I love learning, but I hate doing my homework. What can I do to enjoy doing the work? You can't do anything to enjoy homework. Homework sucks. What you can do is get determined to get what you want. You can build your tolerance for discomfort. You can say, what I really want and what I'm going to enjoy is having a degree, is having an A in the class or a B or a C in the class, passing the class. That's what's going to be enjoyable. And this is the pathway, and I'm willing to do it because I'm gonna get what I want because I deserve to get what I want. You deserve to get what you want. Okay. Let me see what. All right, this is a great question, and we're going to end here. What type of job should ADHD people do? This is like a little theme here today. What type of job should ADHD people do? ADHD people should do a job that they care about. They have to be aligned with it. They have to be connected in some way, shape, or form. Now, some of you hate your job, but what you do care about is the paycheck. And to that, I say, that's a great reason to work. A paycheck is a great reason to work. And so if that's the only thing you care about with your job, lean into that. Write a gratitude list of all of the reasons why you're grateful for that paycheck, all of the reasons why you're aligned with making that amount and being able to provide for yourself and your family and the people that you care about. But truly, an ADHDer, again, I'm going to say it again, has an interest-based nervous system. If I don't care about it, I'm probably not going to do it. And so the job that we should do is one that allows us to do work that is meaningful to us. There are ADHDers in every field of life, right? Every field of work. So it's not necessarily about like, oh, ADHDers should be in tech or ADHDers should be entrepreneurs. It's not necessarily that. It's whoever you are and whatever your gifts are, you should. Oh, I don't like using the word should. I want to encourage you to be aligned with who you are and with what your gifting is. I want you to be aligned with the work that you're doing. But I've had 3 completely different jobs that I've been successful at. I taught private voice and piano lessons, and I enjoyed it. It was great. I was successful at it. I had a private studio of 25 students a week. It was success for me. That was success. Now, it got to the point where I just couldn't hear another repetition of the same song. And I was kind of bored of it. And so I moved on and I did private tutoring. I owned a learning center in my town and I did private tutoring and I loved that so much. And I was really good at it. And as I grew older and as I did more work, I began to develop this understanding of myself that I'm really good working with people. I really love helping people. I really love working in a one-on-one capacity. And so being able to understand that about myself allowed me then to step into, oh my gosh, I love yapping away on this podcast. And I love coaching people. I'm a certified coach. I absolutely love speaking into people's lives. And so the job that people with ADHD should do is one that they care about. It's one that gets them out of bed in the morning. And if you're like thinking, I don't have a job like that. Like my son, granted, he's 17, but like Chick-fil-A is not his dream job. But what he does love is every other Thursday, he gets a paycheck. He loves getting a paycheck. And I love that for him. That's great. And so that's motivating. And if that's your only motivation, that's totally fine. I don't look down on that because we got to eat. We got to feed our families. We got to have a roof over our head. We want to be able to have the freedom to live life. And so I don't want to make it sound like, oh, your job has to be super meaningful. And like, if you're in a job that you don't love, then you should quit it and move on. That's not what I mean at all. What I mean is, what is meaningful to you at your work? And if the only thing is the paycheck, lean into that. That's totally fine. So the type of job that ADHD people should do is one that they care deeply about. All right, that's it for this week. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your question. There were so many, but I had a great time. This has been a ride. If you want to submit